Biodiversity. In this lesson, we'll look at the science and engineering practices of developing and using models, constructing explanations and designing solutions, engaging in argument from evidence, and obtaining, evaluating, and communicating information. Our cross-cutting concepts are cause and effect, energy and matter, and stability and change. Species biodiversity. Biodiversity is the variety of all the different species of organisms on Earth, or within an ecosystem. The greater the number of species in an ecosystem, the higher its biodiversity. Tropical rainforests and coral reefs are considered to have the highest biodiversity on Earth. So consider this. Deserts and polar regions have a relatively low biodiversity. Why do you believe that may be? Also, consider environmental conditions needed to support life. Measure of health. Biodiversity is important in maintaining the stability of an ecosystem and protecting it from environmental change. Therefore, biodiversity can be used as a measure of the health of an ecosystem. Low biodiversity is not always a cause for concern, as some ecosystems naturally have a low biodiversity. It is the loss of biodiversity that is important. So does the ecosystem pictured have a naturally low biodiversity? A wheat field has been planted, oftentimes with great human influence to that ecosystem. So it is an unnatural environment, and biodiversity in this area has been lost. Let's explore biodiversity further. In this image, we can see high biodiversity. There are a large number of trees, shrubs, animals, plants. There's probably a number of lichens or fungi or other species of organisms that we can't see in the image. And other organisms are interdependent upon them. As we reduce the biodiversity, we will notice certain species are eliminated from this ecosystem. Further loss to biodiversity causes other species to be eliminated as well. The importance of biodiversity. An ecosystem relies on the interdependence of organisms to maintain stability. When food webs contain many species, each will rely on several others as a source of food. This means that if one species dies out, those remaining can adapt by eating more of a different species. Ecosystems with low biodiversity are likely to be less stable, because if one species is eliminated, others that depend upon it may also be eliminated. Biodiversity also has an important role in maintaining the abiotic or the non-living factors in an ecosystem. Abiotic factors include an ecosystem's climate and soil quality. The cycling of matter, such as air and water, also relies on the presence of many different species to function effectively. Consider things like the water cycle, the nitrogen cycle, or the phosphorus cycle, in which matter is going to be exchanged throughout the ecosystem. Importance of biodiversity for humans. Just like other species, humans depend on ecosystems for resources such as food and shelter. It is important that we conserve biodiversity in ecosystems. This will ensure that there will be enough food and natural resources for future generations. So can you name some of the ways in which humans rely on ecosystems for resources? Think of agriculture, or energy production, or just simply food. Ecosystem services. Ecosystems provide humans with ecosystem services. An ecosystem service is any benefit that humans gain from a natural ecosystem. For example, water purification. Ecosystems naturally purify water. Air purification. Nutrient recycling. And waste decomposition. The preservation of soil. This may also be related to waste decomposition. Climate regulation. And pest and disease control. Many of the medicines that we use originally came from plants, fungi, or bacteria. We need to preserve biodiversity so that future medicines are not lost. There are also cultural and social reasons for conserving biodiversity, such as maintaining forests where people like to walk. Human impact. Some of the biggest threats to biodiversity are due to the effects of human activity. This includes habitat destruction, climate change, pollution, overexploitation, invasive species. These can disrupt ecosystems, leading to changes in organism types and population sizes, and even causing extinction. Effects of disruptions. How could a disruption to an ecosystem lead to a reduction in food for human populations? The plants we use for food are part of a complex food web. If a disruption causes the loss of a species, this can have a knock-on effect on the crop plant. For example, crops are eaten by pests, such as insects or mites. If the natural predator of these pests dies out, the number of pests will increase, reducing crop production.